As I've watched more YouTube videos and study how people actually tell a story, I've realized that the very first video I made about my dad's landslide, it's terrible. The story sucks. I didn't tell a story at all. I just showed a bunch of pictures and a couple news clips, and you really don't know what happened. So we're going to try to recreate that first video and tell the story a little bit better. So here goes. I wanted to give you an overview here. The structure on the left is my dad's house. The funky Tetris-shaped structure on the right is his shop. And then you can see from the hillside up above, that's where the slide occurred. Now this picture here is current as of today, and I don't have any pictures of the original shape of the hillside or the lay of the land or anything like that, but just wanted to give you a brief overview of what things looked like when we got started. Everything was great. Never even thought about a landslide happening. That's something that happens everywhere else. Until August of 2020. We had a 5.1 earthquake. Shook the place. We felt it. But nothing really started happening till a few months later in November of 2020. Then the rain came. Then things really started moving. This is when things really started moving. The mountain formed a U-shaped crack behind Dad's house, pictured here, and things just slid into the back of the shop. This nice U-shaped crack, some of the cracks ranged from 9 inches wide up to 3 feet wide, and portions were so deep you could stick your leg in all the way up to your thigh. Not the kind of movement you want sitting on the hillside behind your folks' house. Pay attention to the telephone line here, draped over top of that trellis. And then now you see it in these pictures, how it's almost touching the ground. It's laying on top of that trellis and almost touching the ground because that telephone pole has moved so much. I set up a camera on the edge of Dad's house and caught some really cool footage. Let's take a moment to marvel at the sun and the moon as they rotate in harmony with the earth, and then watch the power company replace the pole. I got a little bit ahead of myself. Right after the floods in November, we patched Dad's bridge back up, and I called a buddy, good equipment operator. I said, hey, I need some help. So he brought some big equipment and my little machines, and we started moving dirt. Man, did we start moving dirt. And as we were moving dirt, things kept cracking loose and sliding some more. After we got all the dirt moved, life was great. We built Dad a bridge. We built me a bridge at the cabin right next door to Dad's. Lots of work got done on the cabin, and everything was fantastic. I thought the mountain slide was something I'd never have to worry about again. Until the summer of 2023. While the surface of the earth seemed all calm and still, just as perfect as it could possibly be, beneath our feet, the tectonic plates were moving and shaking and rocking and rolling. And there was tons of movement that took place. And then came January of 2024. The rains came down. We probably got 4.5 inches in the span of about 5 or 6 hours. And the mountain started moving again.
So I took that photo from the road earlier, looking down here at Mom and Dad's. But this is the cause for concern right here. Over that last rain event, all this pushed and started sliding. You can see the crack as it runs out along there. Pretty significant movement. And it's actually opened up probably 2 or 3 inches since I saw it yesterday. So this thing's moving. And what this is causing is here at the backside of Mom and Dad's house. It's pushing all this dirt closer to their house. And what that did is it made the backside of everything higher than the elevation of the floor of the house, so that water ran in the house when it rained. It's also pushing against the septic tank. The septic tank for the shop there on your left runs out here in front of our field of view and in between that little carport shed in the house. We've already repaired the septic tank stuff once, and I can tell that it has shifted again, because the water line that comes up to the water faucet has now got the water faucet leaning hard where it's being pushed. I showed you some of this in an earlier piece of footage, but I don't think it turned out well. Now we're at the top of the hill. Pan around here so you can see the roof of everything. So we're quite a bit higher, 30, 40 feet higher. And all this has broke loose and moved as well. I also wanted to show you this. The developing crack right there. And you see the super shiny arrow right there. That's what it looks like when it's all nice and slick. It starts to slide. You can see the crack line running on up the hill. So the fact that it's cracked this high up tells me that it's not just a surface movement. It's this whole hillside that originally slid is now sliding again. This might be a problem I deal with as long as Mom and Dad are here. So what we're going to try to do today is, you can see the swag in the ground over there. Water's coming off that hill down into the swag and into that big hole, and exacerbating the slide. Soil's already loose. It's already got that mica layer there. So you add water to it and it just turns into a slippery slide. So what we're going to do is, over here on the high side of this swag, I'm going to take all this dirt, throw it back over here where the crack is opened up in an attempt to seal this crack, and then cut a ditch over there on that side so that the water all runs that way. As it is now, water runs probably through 40 or 50 feet of where the existing crack used to be, and as that crack is opened up, while water just finds its way down in there and makes it worse. So we're going to try to divert the water and hopefully close some of this up a little bit, seal it off, maybe slow this stuff down, because it's moved in the last 2 months since Thanksgiving. I'll show you some pictures here. I'd say everything's moved at least a foot. The crack has opened up at least a foot. And then down at the bottom of the hill, the slough from the slide has moved probably 5 or 6 feet. So we'll work on that, see how it goes. Not a lot of rainwater started to accumulate and come down the mountainside yet, but here behind me is a ditch we dug yesterday. That should handle the water. It's definitely not going to accumulate in any of the cracks up here at the top of the hill. And that'll divert it away from the previous crack that was running down over here on my left-hand side of the mountain. We'll see how much rain we get now. But it ought to contain it pretty well. Maybe minimize the movement. We'll check it out tomorrow, see what it looks like. Got a pretty big job on our hands today. We got the ditch cut yesterday to divert all the water that's coming down through here. And all this slough down here at the bottom that's pushed this way and raised the ground level back here on the back of the house. That causes the water level to be higher than the floor of Mom and Dad's house. And so when it floods or rains, it all runs in the house. We got some rain right now, and currently there's probably 150 or 200 gallons back here in a little hole that's already several inches above the floor of the house. But we got this big hump of dirt right here that the mountain's pushed up. It's fortunately kept it from all going in the house. So we're going to try to alleviate some of this back here and get this water to run away. The rain today is supposed to be light, but I still want to get it done before it starts raining an awful lot. What we just created is all running under that little roadbed and down into the creek. In the future, whenever we finally get this mountainside figured out and tamed, there'll be a pretty good water drainage system here, because there's a lot of water that runs down this hill when it rains. Well, the rains have stopped, the sun's out. We're going to walk up the hill here, see how our trench did that we dug to divert the water away from the crack, see what other kind of movement took place. Looks like it did okay from down here. We'll get a little further up, see how things look. Well, now we're up at the top. I see some exposed kind of gravel there in the bottom. So we had enough water flowing through here to wipe the loose dirt off the top, expose the finer gravels. It's a good sign.
So until next time, let's just bask in the wonder of the movement of the sun and the moon in conjunction with the earth, and watch our sky set one more time.